Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here, and holy shit, it's already November. So first off, I want to sincerely apologize for the lack of uploads recently. School has been kicking my ass more than I expected. I've got a bunch of other stuff in the works that you'll be able to see on my main channel. Some stuff that's already up there. And I mean, I have gotten to see a lot of really cool movies lately. We just had the Chicago Film Festival, and being a film student has given me access to a lot of early advanced screenings of some really highly anticipated movies. And I've seen all these movies and I just haven't had the time to, just sit down and talk about them. And, between starting a new job and, all this schoolwork for, the last few weeks of the semester and selling my soul back to Disney in a few weeks, I probably won't have the time to give each one of these movies the recognition that they, deserve. I do have time to cobble together one video talking about a bunch of really great movies and put it out there so you at least get a general idea of what my thoughts are. Yes, it's time for a fuck out of here. Yes, it's time for a JamesMCD Ketchup Review Film Festival Edition. I'm gonna be talking about 5 different movies that I have seen over the past month or so, and I will be going into no spoilers for the most part. I might mention a couple things here and there, but if you do want to check out any of these movies when they do come out, you're safe in that regard. I won't go into too many plot details. With that out of the way, let's get into this. First, let's get this one out of the way because I don't really have too much to say about this one. Joker, directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix. This is one that I wanted to give an individual review for when it came out, but the time just got away from me and I was busy with a bunch of other stuff, so apologies for that. I decided to include it in this video because literally everything that can be said about that movie has been said. It's fucking phenomenal. It's a shoo-in for pretty much every single Oscar category. Joaquin Phoenix's performance is flawless. The directing is masterful. The cinematography and production design look fantastic. The score is super eerie. Its subject matter is super crippling and effective and honestly really depressing. One genuine criticism I've seen the movie get is that it isn't really as deep as it thinks it is in terms of talking about the subject matter, which I mean I can kind of understand, but still, you don't really see a mainstream comic book movie like this delving into those types of topics. This isn't your average superhero movie. This is not one that I would say take the kids to. This is not one that I would say go into if you're looking for a fun-filled romp of seeing your favorite supervillain do some stuff. And if you are having negative thoughts or feeling depressed or suicidal in some way, I would probably say sit this movie out because it could have some genuinely negative effects. But if you are clear in any of those other regards, I would highly recommend going to see this movie. Although, let's be honest, you've already seen it. But yeah, really great movie. Just when I thought it was going to be easy to pick a best movie of the year, this movie comes along and just completely fucks me over, but in the best way possible. I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 5. Perfect. Next up, Ford versus Ferrari. This movie stars Christian Bale and Matt Damon and is directed by James Mangold, who did Logan. Basically, from what you've seen in the trailers, you see the Ford Motor Company is, kind of losing a lot of sales and losing a lot of interest, and they decide, what, we need to go into the racing business. We need to build a car to beat Ferrari in this 24-hour race. I forget what it's called, but they enlist the help of this guy Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, to help test out the different cars and stuff, and it all culminates in this big race that I won't give anything away. I really liked this movie up until a certain point, and what I mean by that is 75% of this movie is fantastic. It's amazingly written, it's well acted, well directed, the shots and cinematography look fantastic. Never before have I wanted to make love to a car until I saw this movie. This is one of the nicest looking movies in terms of all the racing sequences. Like, if you're a racing fan, you will definitely get a lot out of this movie. But even if you're not, just like the interactions between the characters and, you know, the storyline and everything like that, it's enough to keep you invested. I think the acting is really great. Christian Bale and Matt Damon are it's pretty safe to say that they are going to be considered for Best Supporting Actor for this movie. The DP, who was actually there at the premiere doing a Q&A afterwards, he is definitely going to get an Oscar for this movie. I think that he did a fantastic job with this. And like the final race is action-packed, it's suspenseful. There are several like clincher moments where you're like on the edge of your seat, you're like, what the hell is going to happen? And it's just great. But then you get to like the last 15 to 20 minutes of this movie, and you know, it kind of like, it's not really the movie's fault, it's more like history's fault. And I won't give away exactly what it is. I'll let you see the movie, and you know, you'll understand what I'm saying. But that one kind of like was a bit like upsetting to me. But I mean, like, that was just like a small, you know, hurdle in an otherwise perfect movie. I think this movie is great. I would highly recommend checking it out when it comes out this month. Yeah, I really had a great time with this one. I'd probably give this a 4.5 out of 5. Next up, Jojo Rabbit. Oh boy. This is the new movie directed and starring Taika Waititi, and it is about a little boy named Jojo who is part of the Hitler Youth in 1940s Germany, and he wants to, you know, be accepted into this group, and he is constantly being given pep talks by his imaginary friend Adolf Hitler, played by Taika Waititi. And his perception of the whole Nazi thing gets changed when he finds a Jewish girl in his mom's attic, and they start to form a bond, and it starts to become really sweet. And I feel like, I'm not going to give away too much with this movie. I feel like you guys should see it for yourself. But I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going to miss the point in terms of this movie. Like, there are a lot of people getting angry and being like, oh, you can't joke about this stuff. It's, you know, it's really sensitive. And I'm like, you know, nowhere in the movie does it say that the Nazis are the good guys. Like, the Nazis are still the bad guys, but it's just like seeing it from the perspective of someone that, like, you know, having like basically like a realization from that young age, like realizing that maybe this thing that he's been like told to believe all this time isn't really right. And you know, I think that that's really powerful, and I'm glad that the movie isn't just, you know, bad taste Nazi jokes all the way through. Although, even though half the dialogue is Heil Hitler. But I mean, I think that it was really well made. The cinematography, the set design, the editing, it was a very like Wes Anderson type of feel. It was very funny. There were a lot of moments where I was laughing really hard. But the more the movie goes on, the less funny it becomes, which I did appreciate. I like that it becomes more serious towards the later half. I think all the acting is great. All the actors do a phenomenal job. I know that the movie is very controversial, and I know that there are going to be a lot of people that get angry at this movie, but I would say at least, like, give it a chance. Like, don't go into it, like, ready to be triggered by it just because it talks about this specific subject matter. Like, you know, part of like moving on is and learning from our mistakes is like being able to laugh at something. So, and I mean, like, it does have genuine heart to it, and it genuinely has a good positive message. It's as Taika Waititi himself says, it's an anti-hate movie. So, you know, I feel like I feel like a lot of people will be like pleasantly surprised and actually come out of it like appreciating it on a much better level. Or they could just come out of it, you know, missing the point altogether and hating it. But, you know, to each their own. Me personally, I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend you seeing it. It's out in theaters now. It probably won't be there for too long, so I would say see it while you can because it's really good. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. Next up, Marriage Story. This is the new Netflix movie starring Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. This was another one that I saw as part of the Chicago International Film Festival, and it'll be having a small release in theaters in November and getting a full release on Netflix in December. And I would definitely recommend you guys checking it out because it is really good. Basically, it shows these two, this husband and this wife who are, getting a divorce, and it basically shows the two of them trying to respect each other, but then also kind of the harshness that comes with it. And I don't want to go too much into it because I want you guys to see it for yourselves. And it is definitely a really powerful movie. Coming from someone with separated parents, there were a lot of things in this movie that were really tough to watch. But I mean, it also has a good sense of humor. There are quite a few lighthearted moments in the movie, which I did appreciate. Because if the whole thing was just really sad, then it would be really sad to watch. Also, I like that they don't really paint one side as wrong or right. You both see the kind of the positives of both people and the negatives. Both of them are human beings that have made mistakes, and they're forgive and forget, one of those types of things. And they clearly do respect each other and respect each other's work, because you can clearly see them at several points in the movie talking positively about each other and about each other's work. And I think that was it was a good idea to show that, because it could have been, you could have so easily have been oh, the father's right and the dad's wrong and stuff like that. So I'm glad. Also, the performances in this were great. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson both they're both powerhouse performances. There's one scene towards the end where I'm just these two are gonna get Oscar noms. There's no way that they won't get Oscar noms for this. I think that the directing and cinematography were standard but effective. I think it's a Netflix movie, so you don't expect anything super extravagant, but there were a few good long takes and stuff like that. The drama is really effective. The lighthearted moments are really effective. And, it's just a really, really solid movie. I would definitely recommend checking it out. If I had to rate it, I would probably give it a 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.5 out of 5. And then finally, Knives Out. This is the new whodunit mystery movie directed by Rian Johnson, the man responsible for
insert opinion here
to the Star Wars franchise with The Last Jedi. And this is one that I was really excited for going into it. The trailers had me really hooked. It was an all-star cast. I was lucky enough to actually meet Rian Johnson. He was having a Q&A before the movie came out, which I found kind of weird, but he was doing a masterclass Q&A at my school, so that was really cool. I was really excited going into it, but I was also kind of skeptical because there are a lot of ways that movies like this could go wrong. But I'm happy to report that the movie is enjoyable. It is definitely funny. There is a lot of great comedic moments. The cast is honestly one of the biggest saving graces of this movie. Every single one of them does phenomenal. Except for Daniel Craig, which the acting is fine. It's just the voice that they have him doing. It's so weird. And I honestly, I was kind of hoping that, he was just using that voice as, an act to fool all the people. And then he would, when he would be coming out talking to his other detective friends, he would use his normal, British voice. But no, he keeps this, southern, foghorn leghorn type of like drawl throughout the entire movie, and it's so like cringy. I mean, it's funny, but it's also like really cringy. All the other performances are great. I will say there are a lot of characters that you could have easily cut out, like frickin' what's his name, Billy from It. Like, you could have cut his character out. You didn't really need him. There were a lot of other family members that you didn't really need to see, but there were a lot of like strong performances from like Chris Evans and Michael Shannon and Hannah Baker. I mean, Kathy Langford, whatever her name is. The main girl that the movie follows, which I'm gonna look her up right now because I'm definitely gonna forget her name. Ana de Armas. Her performance was really great. You know, she has to carry a lot of the movie, and she does a really great job. I think she did a fantastic job. Like I said, I think the writing is really good. This is a really funny movie. In terms of the plot, it definitely to quote Ryan himself, it subverted my expectations, because like it's really not actually about who did the murder, and I can't really go into too much detail about that without giving away a lot of plot points, so you'll just have to take my word for it and go see the movie when it comes out. With that said, the movie is pretty predictable though. Like, once the main plot gets going, or even from the trailers, kind of, you can kind of guess like where it's gonna go and like what some of the bigger reveals are. But I mean, like, it's still entertaining, and I mean, like, I don't know how well like sort of the mystery aspect will hold up on rewatch. Like, I don't know how much rewatch value the movie has. Like, whether it would be like, oh, you could watch it again and then be like, ooh, like pick up certain details about this. Like, ooh, I didn't notice this before. Ooh, I didn't notice this. Because like when you're just watching it and you're invested in like the story and the characters and stuff like that, you're not really trying to like solve the mystery or anything like that. So watching it a second time, you could be like looking for the clues now that you already know what's gonna happen. But I mean, like, even beyond not actively looking for clues, I still had a sneaking suspicion about what would happen. But I mean, regardless, it was still an entertaining movie. I don't regret going to see it, and I'm probably going to see it again when it comes out properly. I would definitely recommend giving it a shot, if for nothing else, just to see, you know, like the cast and, you know, the clever writing and the comedy and stuff like that. So I would recommend checking it out. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5. And that's it. Those are all of the movies that I have seen over this past month, whether it be from film festivals or early advanced screenings or what have you. Normally I would rank them in order from favorite to least favorite, but I'm not going to do that this time because I unintentionally already did. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of any of these movies, if you've already seen them or if you're gonna go see them, if you're how excited you are. I am trying to plan something out for when Frozen 2 comes out later this month, for me and my girlfriend to do a live review. So it's gonna take some fiddling a bit to you know, get that to work properly, but hopefully we'll figure something out, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, beyond that, be sure to like this video, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on what I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel to see some of my projects that I'm working on for class. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you later.